Welcome to the DEC4 podcast. You can access episodes, companion articles, research notes and links, as well as information about our contributors and supporters at DEC4podcast.com. Hope you enjoy the program. Can you take us through arriving in Memphis?
Well, I had to take pause when I was making notes because living in Canada, my wife and I have always driven to Memphis, but I can imagine that a lot of people may be flying. So I must admit, I can't speak specifically to the details of flying, but I did look up if you're flying into Memphis, the airport is maybe 10 minutes away from the areas we'll be hitting. So music and Elvis aside, as you touched on, it has a rich history and it's one of the most popular cities in America. Navigating, of course, takes concentration. Many people use a GPS, or me, I go one step better. My wife directs me. I don't know where I'm driving ever. She just says right, left. That's an interesting thing when you enter the city. And then you begin to navigate, from your exit from the highway to the area where you want to get to. So the highway exit, I notice, is not what you'd call maybe a high rent district. And this brings in an interesting thing about Graceland and where it is, which maybe we'll touch on later. But it's not exactly run down, but it's definitely a working class functional area that doesn't seem too concerned with, beautification or touristy things, which is interesting because it's the most visited private home in the States next to the White House or whatever, but it is where it is. And the urban sort of sprawl has moved towards it. So the city around it, like I say, it's not really classy, but it's a very natural looking, interesting place. You get near to the mansion, you realize that it's not a theme park built for you, built for visitors. It's a city. And it is where it is. Graceland is where it is. But there's a comfort, I think, that comes from knowing that you're looking around at the different license plates and maybe there's a lot of people that are there doing the same thing that you are. So even though you feel far away from home, you feel like there must be others here doing the same thing that we are. And I gotta think that the city itself wouldn't let that part of town get too bad, because then, of course, that affects the tourist dollars. You don't feel insecure or like you're in danger at all. It's just you have to realize that it's just a functional city, and you just have to navigate the streets and make your way to the mansion. And that's an interesting thing when you first arrive, is that Graceland is not like Disneyland where it's been built for you. It is where it is, and you just have to navigate the city that way.
Because there is a bit of commentary online, some of it quite strong actually, about street crime and personal safety around Whitehaven and, in fact, in Memphis generally. Obviously, people need to make their own decisions and do their own research in terms of their travel plans and what they're going to be comfortable with.
Maybe I'm naive, but I'm quite happy to be. That I don't, the times I've been to Memphis, I don't enter the city looking at this guy on the street, at that car, that person, waiting to see which one is going to confront us. I don't look at it that way. I just assume that we're going to be okay. I navigate in a certain way. There's little things that I might do. Of course, I'm very careful with how I'm driving. I don't want to stand out in that way or cause anybody's ire or anything. The thing about visiting a city like that, one thing I always think about is I go easy on the photographing pictures and look at that rundown home, go stand in front of it and get a picture. I don't want to look like the tourist. I just try to stay under the radar, just try to navigate and do my thing and go to my places and just sort of blend in as much as I can. I've never really felt in danger. I've gone forward with positivity and always try to be nice to people just like I am at home. And I don't feel like your personal safety is really an issue in Memphis as opposed to anywhere else. I mean, of course, things can happen anywhere, but I don't think that Memphis poses a particular risk.
Once you've arrived and you've settled in, what's first on the itinerary to go and see?
There's a Days Inn Memphis right across the street from the house. It's funny, when we're down there and we're navigating our holiday, we always refer to Graceland as the house. So if I say the house, that's what I mean. Now, the Days Inn Graceland is reasonably priced. The rooms are nice. It's a fine place to stay, fine rooms. They have a wonderful guitar-shaped pool. Elvis radio blasts everywhere all the time, which it does so much to set the mood and the tone that Elvis radio is always playing. When you're in your room, there's 2 channels that are each playing different Elvis movies nonstop all the time. That becomes a really fun thing too. Me and my kids would be out somewhere, we'd come back for a quick break or something, and we'd play a game about guessing which movie's going to be on, and we'd turn the TV on. It became a fun thing. And when you're familiar with the movies, it's such a companion to have them on. And often the movie will end and it will go back to the DVD menu screen. So then I realize what they're doing, and I'll call down to the desk and I'll say, can you start it again? And they will. And that's a really fun thing. They're no dummies. Obviously, it's Elvis centric. So the Elvis radio and the movies in the room are a great experience. So I highly recommend that hotel. And everybody says, what about the guest house at Graceland, the brand new hotel? Always tried to be a good steward of my resources and my money. So the added expense, everybody has to make their own decision. But I'm sure it's a lot more expensive, obviously. But of course, you get what you pay for. It's a really, really nice hotel. We went in there, we walked around the lobbies and whatnot. It's a fine establishment. And of course, it's affiliated with Elvis Presley Enterprises. So there's a cool thing about that too. So I guess what you've got is 2 choices. A little bit more reasonable and kind of homier Days Inn with the continental breakfast can be fun. And the lobby is just loaded with memorabilia, and that's fun too. Or the bit higher class guest house at Graceland. So once you get settled in, I imagine that people are concerned, where are we going to eat meals and whatnot? Some will buy groceries, whatever. So there's a settling in and a getting prepared to do your thing. And it's interesting with Graceland and Memphis is that you don't need to spend a week there. We did it the first time we did it. It was a long weekend, basically. I think I took the Friday and Monday off work. And because touring the house is basically one day, and then the environs around it can be another day. So it doesn't have to take a week of your time. So, but I think what we've always done, the main thing is to walk across the street to the house. It is quite something, I tell you. And I might touch on it more later, but if you're a fan of Elvis Presley, and I shouldn't say fan because fan means a certain thing. If he's your guy and you really want to understand his thing, his life, his aura, you have to, if at all possible, I know it's hard for people that are flying from all over the world. They live all over the world. It's an expensive thing. But to understand him, you have to be in his city. And I think a big part of it is the heat. There is a certain special kind of heat in Memphis. And once you begin to walk the streets, cross the street, go to the store, walk here, you realize how hard it can be. We've always gone in the summer as well, to navigate the summer heat in Memphis. And it right away makes you think Elvis and so many people like him from this city have always lived with this heat. No wonder it's air conditioning, and no wonder it's these methods of survival when it gets to be so hot. But so going from the freezing cold of your hotel room to the Memphis heat, and then walking across the street, and as you walk, and even as you drive, if you drive into the city on your way to your hotel, whatever, the home basically appears all of a sudden. And you see it kind of up on the hill between the trees. And the first time, I'm telling you, for Elvis people, it's something quite remarkable to see it, not really out of the mist, but you don't, bam, see it right away. It's up there on the hill. You're driving along, trying to keep your eyes on the road. You're looking towards the house. There it is up on the hill. The wall you've seen so many times, the gates you've seen so many times. And it's funny too, assimilating, seeing something in the flesh with something you've seen 100 times in books and pictures and TV, whatever. So for the first time visitor, once you're settled in whatever hotel you're staying in, the first thing we've always done is just simply to walk over to the house, to look at it, to see it. Maybe you write your name on the wall. It's quite a remarkable thing. Just approaching the house, feeling the atmosphere and the heat, seeing the home where Elvis and his family lived, and then getting the vibe of the atmosphere and the people around you. So just from this little start, it's already a fascinating experience.
Podcast terms and conditions can be found at our website, DEC4podcast.com. You can contact us there or on our social media. Find us on the major podcasting platforms, and we're also on Substack, Facebook, Tumblr, and Instagram. This has been George Fairbrother. Thanks for listening.